Hi kapatid! Yes, I'm talking to you. Yes, you. I'm really talking to you. Ikaw nga. Yes, I'm inviting you once more. And join us in serving here at the Feast Quezon City District. What are the ministries? Watch this video.
Family, we are now on the hump day of
So ano pang hinihintay mo kapatid? Join na! Sign up now and allow Jesus to use you, your talents, to let His blessings go through you and share His love to other people. God bless!
Hello Singles family! We are now on the hump day of the week, which means isa na namang chill episode ang ating mapapanood. But first, a recap. Sa ating previous episode, Sis April and Bro Roy shared how the Lord worked in their lives to achieve their respective goals. And today, since we are almost in the middle of our Lenten season, a very special guest will guide us as we tackle the ABCs of fasting. At bakit nga ba ito importante sa ating Christian life? Kaya Chillmates, let's invite our friends and family as we watch the first episode of our two-part series entitled Pre-Fast, Guidelines to Fasting.
Hi everyone, it's nice to have you, and we are in episode 4. May mga tanong po about the guidelines for fasting. I can understand where this comes from kasi nga, we are now in the season of Lent. So let's dive into the questions and let us clarify some of your doubts and questions. Ang unang tanong po is, what exactly does fasting means and how does it differs from abstinence? So let me read from an article that the law of fasting binds all Catholics on from the age 18 until 59. So that's 18 is it's a legal age, no? And then just below the age of 60, it's 59. And we are bound to fast on Ash Wednesday, Good Friday, and where possible, throughout Holy Saturday. Both abstinence and fasting are required of Catholics who are not exempted for various reasons. So, ibig sabihin, may mga exemptions, although you might fall into the category of 18 years old or below 60 or 59 and 364 days, no? Short of one day of your birthday. Ang mga exemptions dito would be yung sick, yung mga frontliners, yung mga pregnant, and of course, those who are handling, mga works that require them to be alert most of the time. So what does fasting means? This is depriving yourself of your legitimate need, like food, for example, which is the most basic form of fasting. Diba? We eat 3 times a day. At least I eat 3 times a day. I don't know about you. Baka 5 times kayo. But we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Usually sa fasting is you give up either the whole of that only for one day. Don't do it for several days. And the purpose is really to create a space inside you. As you are deprived of food, your stomach is empty, there's space. Why do you have that space? In order to allow God to enter into your life. So pwedeng complete fasting, okay, from sunrise to sundown, and then you eat afterwards. Or you can have one square meal, the equivalent of one square meal, then you can divide it throughout the day. So it depends on your own, comfortable limit. Okay? Don't push it if you cannot, because that's not going to be holy in the sight of God. Ang importante naman sa fasting is that you're able to discipline yourself in the face of your legitimate needs. And that's also the case of abstinence. Yung abstinence naman is you refrain from doing what you are used to do in order to make yourself happy, relaxed, or just steady. Like yung mga comfort food, like yung panonood ng sine, like yung paglabas-labas with friends. So you sacrifice that for some time, and the end result is the strengthening of the will. So both fasting and abstinence, ang aim nila is to strengthen our will, that we are able to contain our legitimate needs, and when we do that, we become strong also in the face of temptation. Okay? So yung ano doon is, when we have a strong will, we can say no to temptations. And that is the primary aim of fasting and abstinence. Okay, so number 2 question, who are required to fast and abstain, and when should it be done? I answered it already in question number 1. So those between the age of 18 and below 60s, around 59, they are required to fast and abstain. When it's Ash Wednesday, ang fasting, and also Good Friday. And hopefully until Saturday, Holy Saturday. But these two ang nire-require. Yung abstinence, you can do it throughout the year. But ang pinakamatingkad na feeling natin kailangan mag-abstain is usually Lent. Kasi nga, there is a time period, 40 days. So you might want to do some sacrifice, like not eating meat, not drinking Coca-Cola for 40 days, or not eating what you like, ice cream, milk tea, etc. And there are many ways to do this. So ikaw ang mag-program sa sarili mo. But I think, more than depriving yourself with food and other things that makes you happy, ang pinakamagandang fasting and abstinence is refraining from doing harm. Doing harm to yourself, doing harm to others, that might harm your relationship with God and the environment. Okay? So, pag nag-fast ka from doing bad, baka ma-addict ka doon, so you become a better person. If you abstain, for example, from being mean to others, or if your natural reaction pag nagagalit ka is to shout, you control yourself. Abstain from your natural expression of despair, disgust, or exasperation, and that's going to be nice. There will be a quiet time for 40 days sa mga co-workers mo, sa mga kasama mo sa bahay, sa mga friends mo. Kasi nga, you are trying to control yourself. And the good thing there is mas aware ka because it's a Lenten practice on your part. So you will exert more effort to be in control of the self. And who knows? Baka hindi mo namamalaya, nagbago ka. You are not abstaining only for a certain period of time, but you are doing it for the rest of your life. Okay, so question number 3 is, why is fasting and abstinence important? Why should we do it? Actually, hindi naman siya talaga, come to think of it, this is just a discipline. Okay? Some people can do away with it and they're still good. But why is it important? Kasi for us mere mortals, yung mga kaladkarin ng ating mga desires, yung mga walang self-control, yung hindi marunong mag-delay ng gratification, kailangan natin ng isang exercise of the will. And that is fasting and abstinence. So it's important to build our capacity to resist. Yung magiging strong in face of legitimate needs, pero hindi naman dapat tugunan agad-agad, no? May mga proper time to eat, may mga proper time to scratch yourself, for example, no? May proper time to, let's say, have a good time. So, yung importance is for us to have a window of strength so that when we respond to our legitimate needs, it's on a proper place in a proper time. And that's for legitimate needs. Secondly, sa mga illegitimate needs, yung alam mong temptations, yung mga hindi masyadong moral, we now have the capacity to say no. Kasi bakit? Kung kaya mong panghawakan ang iyong sarili, may self-mastery ka, you can always dominate your baser desires. And that is the importance of fasting and abstinence. So why should we do it? To become persons of discipline. Yung mga hindi lamang mga hinihila ng kanilang mga kagustuhan. Okay, what are the different ways to fast and abstain? So let's go to the basic, and that is fasting from food and abstaining from your usual, activities or usual ways of interacting with the world. So sa fasting with food, it can be two ways. Una, complete fasting. That means from sunrise to sun up. Huwag ka namang pilingera na 24 hours ka magpa-fast. Nahilo ka niyan, no? Bababa ang sugar mo, tataas ang BP mo. Gusto ba yan ni Lord sa'yo? Of course not. So huwag kang masyado mag-inarte. Nasa middle ground ka lang. No? Hindi ka tinatawag na maging superman and superwoman. Huwag mong tangkain. No? Just do what is normal and proper. So what is that? As I said, sunrise and sun up, pwede kang hindi mag-partake ng solids and liquids like the Muslim do. But after sundown, they have a feast. Okay? So they recover what they have given up. Now, ano naman yung fasting, ilalamon ka rin na naman pala paggabi. Hello? It's the struggle you have from sunrise to sundown trying to contain your hunger pangs. May nangyayari sa'yo dyan, mga kuya. No? Anong nangyayari? You're able to realize whether you are strong or weak in resisting your hunger pangs. At pag nakaresist ka, I tell you, kahit lumamon ka sa gabi, you have acquired a power. And the power is, you are able to lord it over your legitimate desires. That you can postpone it for a higher purpose. And that is, wala sa tamang panahon, wala sa tamang lugar. So nag-a-acquire ka ng mga skins kung ML player ka. No? Hindi ba? That makes you strong. No? You're able to play well against your opponents. So every time you triumph over yourself, you become a superman or a superwoman. Yung abstinence, sabi ko nga, di ba, huwag kang manood ng sine, huwag kang mag-milk tea for 40 days, or no soda, yung mga gusto mong gawin, tapos gini-give up mo. So siguro magkakaroon ka ng withdrawal syndrome, yung nagwa-wine ka, gusto ko na talaga mag-milk tea, kaya lang nag-promise ako. So wine ka ng wine, pero natapos ang 24 hours, hindi ka nag-milk tea. So first week siguro, whiner ka. Second week, tumigil ka na. Third week, nakalimutan mo ang milk tea. Fourth week, non-milk tea ka na drinker. Tapos, pag Resurrection Sunday, bigla kang niyaya doon sa Macau Imperial. You can manage yourself. So kung may temptation sa harap mo, do the discipline of the 40 days, fasting and abstinence. Magwine ka, gusto ko yan, pero alam mo na, nangako ako, etc. Hanggang mapagod si Satanas sa kakaantay sa'yo kasi nag-iinarte ka. Kasi you are doing your technology of postponing your gratification. And one part of that is whining. Okay? So, okay yun. Okay. So, different ways to fast and abstain. Either depriving yourself of food for a certain period of time, usually it's 12 hours, no? Or depriving yourself of the things that you'd like to do. That could be 40 days, 30 days, 10 days, 20 days. You set the limit to yourself. Huwag kang mag-inarte na malakas ka. Kung weak ka pa, just set the standard lower. Next year, taasan mo. Tapos taasan mo ulit. And that will accumulate your capacity to resist. No? Huwag ka agad mataas ang standard. Kasi pag nag-fail ka, baka ayaw mo na ulit gawin. No? So, prudence is also needed here. Ha? Hindi kesyo, nagawa ng mga santo, yan makakaya mo. Hello, it took them 40 years. Have that kind of strength. Tapos ikaw, na out of nowhere, okay, give in to your cravings most of the time, magpa 40 days ka, you are going to fail. And when you fail, you get disheartened. And when you get disheartened, baka ayaw mo na. Sino may kasalanan? Ikaw. Ikaw ang syunga. You don't know your limits. Okay, question number 5. What are the important steps that you should consider for fasting and abstinence? First, know yourself. That's very basic. What's your health condition? Come on. Kung may sugar issues ka, wag kang mag-fasting. Kasi galitin ka lang yan the whole day na pag hindi ka nakakain. Di ba madaling magutom yung mga diabetic? Tapos pag gutom ka, dragona ka or dragon ka. Hello? So what good does it do to you kung galitin ka the whole day, di ba? You better eat so that you are human. Kesa naman nag-fasting ka and you're at peace. Okay? So know yourself. Your health conditions, your tolerance meter, ikaw hanggang ano ang kaya mo. And then your condition. Are you working in the morning until 5 p.m.? Or you are the type na nasa bahay lang, etc. So, you can program a fasting and abstinence that is proper to your situation. Tapos pangalawa, tingnan mo kung ano ang mga gusto mo. At yun ang i-give up mo. Ayaw mo ng, for example, ayaw mo ng vegetables. Tapos, magmamagaling ka. I will give up vegetables for 40 days. So nga, hindi mo na yung kinakain ng buong taon, tapos yun i-give up mo. That's committing fraud. Akala mo matutuwa ang mga santo at anghel? I don't think the Lord cares. No? The Lord will not be affected. But you will be affected. You are not honest to yourself. So, know what you want, yung mga kahinaan mo, at yan ang itry mo i-combat. Because that will reap you good rewards afterwards. And then third, do a serious responsibility to follow what you set for yourself as a goal. So baka meron kang mga, tawag dito, yung certificate of whatever, yung kontrata, no? Contract to myself. No? So may mga ritual ka. That helps you. Okay? May panaka-panaka ka dun sa harap ng puon. Or you have a group of friends that you dared, okay, let's do this, ha? Let's strengthen each other. You need a support group. So, you can do that, no? So, know yourself, okay? And then secondly, know your likes so that you know what to give up. Thirdly, have a support group so that you can strengthen each other, push each other so that you will attain your goal. And then siguro, the last thing is be kind to yourself. If you vacillate, nagkamali ka, huwag kang masyadong mag-inarte. Don't turn into a drama king and a drama queen na yun na lang yung inano mo. Pinag-aksaya ng panahon. You lose your focus because of your mistake, kahinaan, nagwalo ka na in grief. Okay? It's not going to help you. Remember, we're flawed. Tanggapin mo. And then, if you fail, then do another parang kontrata sa sarili. Pwede mo siyang bayaran. So, i-increase mo ang iyong in payment for this lapse that I have. In short, be good to yourself. Because this is not an imposition. Ito ay ini-embrace natin for our own self-transformation. God does not ask us to do this. Para gusto niya nga sana masaya tayo, happy, healthy. Hindi mataba, healthy. Kasi pag healthy ka, you can serve more. No? But why do we embrace this? Bakit tayo nagpapakahibang dito? Because we know that we are flawed. And the only way for us to have the mastery of ourselves is to sacrifice. At ito ang ways to sacrifice. One of the ways to sacrifice. And so, remember, this is not an imposition coming from God. This is a discipline that we wholeheartedly embrace because we want to be transformed. Okay, there's a question about paano kung hindi ka naka-fast? So what are the other things you can do? Diba sinabi ko kanina, forgive yourself. It's not the end of the world, and besides, God will not send you a thunderbolt. Kaya, relax. So what can you do afterwards? Well, you can do corporal works of mercy. In lieu of your incapacity to discipline your bunganga. Okay? Wala kang disiplina sa iyong pagkain. Well, it's okay. No? But you can do corporal works of mercy, which are the following. You can feed the hungry. So you go out sa mga lansangan or the poor. You can clothe the naked. So you can unload your mga damit sa iyong aparador. No? Lalo na yung mga hindi mo pa binuksan, inaagyo na 3 years na hindi mo pa nasusuot kasi ambisyosa ka. Small binili mo, large ka. Feeling mo liliit ka. 3 years na, nag-extra large ka pa. You can give that to somebody else. It's not really meant for you. No? Or may 10 kang black shoes, hello. Pwede na ba? Dalawa lang naman pair kailangan mo, no? At a certain time. So you can unload some of those stuff, no? Clothe the naked. Not literally, wala silang damit, pero yung mga kulang ng damit, hindi masyadong nagpo-forma kasi hindi wala silang pambili, etc. You can make them happy. You can visit the prisoners, or you can pray for the poor souls in purgatory. Okay? So those are the corporal works of mercy that you can substitute in lieu of fasting. Ako, ganun lang ginagawa ko. Binabayaran ko yung aking pagkain. Kaya tingnan mo, may alkansya ako dito. This one. Usually, I will give this to my favorite charities, which would be children. No? Naaawa talaga ako sa mga children who are deprived. No? They should not live in a world of misery. Kasi a child is born pure. Tapos, he or she gets to have contact with an imperfect world. Diba? Nasira ka agad yung kanilang in a sense. So, I have tender heart for the children. So, here, ito yung pambayad ko because I'm sure I'm going to eat Krispy Kreme if it's given to me, even if it's a Good Friday. Thank you.
Father, anong food sobrang favorite mo na minsan ayaw mong isama sa fasting?
Honestly, all. And I tell you sometimes, because let's say we're frontliners, right? Especially during the Holy Week, no? Hindi pwedeng di kami kumain. Kasi baka mahilo kami at hihimatayin. Kasi, you know, it's a lot of activity in between. Let's just say, yung from Monday until the Resurrection Sunday, yung first 3 medyo walang masyadong activity. I mean, Holy Monday and Holy Tuesday, pag Wednesday, meron ng something dyan. No? And then Thursday is, yung Triduum is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Kasi nandun yung Last Supper, Good Friday, and then yung Black Saturday, then Resurrection Sunday. Itong sa Triduum na to, ang hirap talaga mag-fasting sa amin. Kasi sunod-sunod yung mga trabaho namin. Meron pa kaming mga confessions to attend to, etc. So, frankly, it's really a struggle to fast. Tapos, anong hindi ko mag-give up na food? Lahat ng kinakain ko. So, we try our very best. Lugaw-lugaw, you know, but sometimes it's not sufficient. So, we really have to eat. So, yung aming fasting doon is by not fasting. Although we want to do it, it's simply because of the kind of responsibility we have. So, sometimes, may fish kami. We just sit to eat na we're not eating meat, pero nagdidebate kami sa table. No? Pinay tayo, hindi naman tayo mga sa karne, di ba? Yung natin is isda. So, dapat sa isda tayo magpa-fast, no? All those things, etc. No? But it's not what kind of food you're giving up, actually. Fasting is, at its very essence, an attitude. Yung mga outer expression niya, like depriving yourself of food, are just expressions. Real fasting starts with the attitude of the heart. Okay? So pag ganoon, any kind of food that you deprive yourself has meaning. And any food that you take also has meaning for you, depending on the attitude of the heart. Pero kung, let's just say, superficially, what kind of food I could not give up sa umaga? Well, it's not really food, but it's a drink. Coffee. I could not give up coffee. Why? Wala na nga kaming asawa, wala pang coffee. Paano ba yan? My goodness. What kind of terrible life are we living? In the word of one of our elder priests, ito mas brutally frank sila. Wala na nga kaming sex life, wala pang coffee. Okay? So you choose. We deprive ourselves of coffee, but we will look for another substitute, di ba? Okay. So that's it.
Yung sa akin po, ang question ko, ano po yung top 5 favorite food niyo?
So my top 5 favorite food, first is dinuguan. Between lechon and dinuguan ako. No question about it. So I love dinuguan so much. Pangalawa is adobo. Adobong baboy and mixed with chicken. Not the adobo, just any adobo. Ilonggong adobo. May atsuete. I don't like yung may patis lang at saka yung vinegar. No? May atsuete. Okay. Discriminating ang aking taste. Pangatlo is anything with munggo. It could be daing, it could be baboy with langka, no? That's another Ilonggo food. No? It could be munggo with kalabasa and then dilis. Yun, no? Wala akong pakialam kahit kikirot yung aking mga kaso-kasuan. I have uric acid issues. No? But I do love munggo a lot. Now, yung last two are my comfort food. Okay? These are my to-go food when I am sad, which is usually just siguro one day in 365 days. I have a very sunny disposition. So, hindi yayaman sa akin ito mga comfort food provider ko. So, first would be mamunlok kay Mami, pati yung siopaw nila, yung king na I don't like the little siopaw, yung king siopaw, malaki. And then yung chicken Mami nila. Pangalawa would be donut. That would be the Krispy Kreme honey glazed donut. Okay. If you want to ask a favor from me, at parang nahihirapan kang hingin sa akin, just bring dinuguan and Krispy Kreme, either or, no? I will leave everything behind to please you. Yun lang. So, those are the 5 favorite food I have. Well, my final message for you, dear millennials, or centennials, kasi medyo ano na rin kayo, no? Pasok na rin kayo sa age where you have now the capacity to think for yourself. No? My final message is this. No? Fasting and abstinence are just ways and means for us to have self-control. If that helps you, do it. If you find that it is not meaningful, don't worry. But try to find something that could be an alternative for that. If you are more of a person who help others, yung Corporal Works of Mercy could be your avenue towards self-transformation. We are not created the same. May iba-iba tayong mga tendencies, and it must be honored. So don't think that because others can do it, you can do it. Iba yung iba yung mindsets, iba yung habits. So don't push it because you're going to fail. And you'll just feel miserable. Find your own way to holiness. Kasi, ang sabi ng mga marurunong, ang santo, gumagawa daw sila ng ladder in order to climb heaven. And once they are in heaven, they destroy the ladder. Because that ladder is only for themselves. So create your ladder, guys, and let's see each other in heaven, hopefully. Thank you.